Carl kicked her out of his house when she was almost 4 months pregnant with his baby. Since then, Jessica has given birth to a beautiful baby boy named Evan, who is now 6 weeks old. Carl is with us, and he's waiting, and he'll be out in just a minute. But first, Jessica, what's the story? What happened with you and Carl?
We were acquaintances in high school. We knew each other before. And the year I graduated from high school, I went to work for his mother. That's how we really started dating. It was a fairy tale romance to me. You know, I had a pretty rough childhood, I guess, and he promised me a future and a family. And in June, we became engaged. Mm-hmm. We were together for 2 years before this.
You were together 2 years?
Right.
Before you became engaged?
Right. We were engaged in June, and at the end of July, almost exactly 1 month later, found out that I was pregnant. And 3 months later, he decided he didn't want to be with me anymore. He said his feelings changed.
Do you think it was the pregnancy that had something to do with that?
I think he got really scared.
About being a father or being married? The whole thing?
Right. About being a father mostly, I guess. I don't know.
Now,
he really doesn't have a reason for what he did.
You were living together?
I was living with some friends of my family. I had a room at their house, and I was staying at Carl's house quite a bit. I mean, I was, you know, sleeping there, spending the night there a lot. And so when I got pregnant, I couldn't live at this family's home with the baby, raising a child. So I guess by the grace of God, my grandmother let me move back in with her.
But how did he kick you? You said he kicked you out.
He had gone to Connecticut to visit.
Okay. But Rachel says 2 months ago, Joe instantly destroyed her life when he dumped her over the phone without an explanation. Today that may change because the two of them are going to face each other for the first time in the 2 months since the dumping. Joe is waiting backstage. He'll be out in a minute. Rachel, you're 4 months pregnant with Joe's baby?
Yes.
Was the relationship always rocky?
Not always. We met at a lake that I stay at every summer. I'm a permanent camper, I guess you could call it. And he was a weekender. And we met one weekend, and we got along great. We were up till really, really early in the morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning, just talking, getting to know each other. And from there on, I saw him during the week. I went to his softball games and everything that is near my house. He came out to the lake every weekend to see me. And a few months into the relationship, we were discussing the future. I think he pushed a little more than I did.
He wanted, what kind of future did he want?
He talked about marriage, and we really didn't talk about kids or anything right then. That didn't come until maybe 2 months after that. And so into the relationship, it was about 8 months or so, I got pregnant.
How did he react to the news that you were pregnant? He's 19, you're 18, a little young to think about this, but how did he react?
Well, actually, I stewed on it for like a week. I was real worried. I thought I was, but I wasn't sure. And he picked me up, and we were driving around just talking about it. I told him I was really scared. I was just really scared to find out. He made me go to the doctors. He took me to the doctors. And he waited outside while I got the test. And I just saw it just turn positive. And I just started.
He told her, and we've said it before, raise the bastard child on your own. Carrie, that must have been awful to hear. What happened?
Well, I met Scott. I was dating a guy from the base that he was on, and we had been dating for quite a while. But he got into partying real heavy, and I talked to Scott instead. We became really good friends, and he wanted to meet me in person, so he sent me money to come meet him. And I mean, he was the ideal man. He had the physical strength and the heart of a woman. You know, he was everything. He called me his angel, and he said that the first time he met me, he didn't see anything but the wings on my back.
Aww.
The perfect man. I mean, so I went down there and I spent the time of my life on my 21st birthday and came back the 23rd of December for Christmas Eve, and he calls and he had followed me back to spend Christmas with me. He woke me up Christmas morning and he said, Carrie Jo, Christmas is a celebration of the miracle of birth. And he goes, if there's a miracle to happen, today's the day. I want a son. And so we...
He knew you for a week, and he said, today is the birth of our Savior, so you're going to give birth too. Right.
But I thought it was like the most romantic thing. I was like, oh. And so he really wanted a boy because in the heat of passion, he screamed out, boy. He really wanted a son.
You were making love, and he's screaming, boy?
Yeah.
Boy?
Just once. Just once.
Works as well as anything, I would guess. So then what happens?
So I was like, Scott, don't get your hopes up and everything. And he called me. He sent me some money to go to the doctor. And I was like, well, I got to work. And he said, you take off. You quit your job. You're going to have my baby. You quit your job. I was like, I'm not quitting my job.
For y'all.
Okay.
Because y'all don't know. It's so hard for me to I don't care.
Scott, a bit of advice. Don't allow an argument over the phone to mean anything. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to tell Jessica my heart goes out for you because I've been in some kind of experience like that. But the best thing is take care of that kid because you are going to have all the fun with him, not him. He's the one who's losing out, not you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Which you wear my
Therapist, Suzanne Lopez, who's now the Red Eye Special is her way of going. Suzanne, what is going on here?
Well, so there are no fairy tale relationships. There's no perfect man and no perfect woman. And everybody here is talking about, oh, it was a fairy tale and he was perfect and everything was wonderful. Real life occurs and we're human beings. And with this first couple, the young man has an unrealistic expectation that every time when you're with somebody, they're supposed to be there for you and vice versa. And she's going to set herself up for a lifetime of disappointments, expecting him to be a certain way. And I would really say that you know, he's trying to show up the best he can. I think that he made his decision based on faulty information and immature kind of expectations.